Alright, so this is the first Iraq War scenario, so it's the fall of 1990, and this is the outcome of the Cold War. So NATO won the Cold War, so all the East Bloc nations have been quote-unquote freed from Soviet control and have all flipped to join NATO. Some of them I'm looking a little ahead, because obviously in 1990 Ukraine is not part of NATO, neither is, well, some of these, but I'm looking ahead a little bit. But it seems how they don't play a part in anything until World War III. It doesn't really matter. Soviet Union has collapsed. This is now the Russian Federation. And as you can see, a lot of the militaries have downsized pretty substantially. That's because, you know, the Cold War is over, not the existential threat of total Armageddon looming over everyone's heads, so the various powers have downsized their militaries. But this also is the beginning of another upgrade cycle, so we'll start seeing the present day hardware on the board. You can already see some of it. So you know, on the American stuff, there's F-15s and F-16s sitting on those sitting out there. AWACS's, over here's F-117 Nighthawks. But anyways, the conflict for this scenario, like I said, is the first Iraq War. And as you can see, America is primed and ready to invade Iraq for the first time. And Iraq is going to do its best to try to resist it. It's a quick scenario, it's only 2 turns, so it'll go by pretty quick. So we'll do a turn by turn on this, since it's only 2 turns. So we will throw some dice for the first turn and come back with the results. See you then. Alright, we're in the spring of 1991. And we'll just go straight to Iraq, because that's the only conflict going on at the moment. Everyone else is just upgrading. And the war has gone exceptionally well for the Americans. The Americans did a kind of 3-pronged attack. They took some stealth bombers, the F-117 Nighthawk, into Baghdad to target the factory, escorted by F-15 Eagles for fighter suppression. And then the Marines and some SEALs, along with other elements, backed up by 2 carrier strike groups, did an amphibious landing in Kuwait. At the same time, the regular army pushed down from the north into the Kurds region, Kurdistan. And as you can see, it went exceptionally well for the U.S. The U.S. destroyed a quarter of the entire Arab state military and only lost 4 infantry in return. 2 Marines and 2 regular infantry. So in lieu of that, the Arab states opted to, when they had a fighter still alive in Baghdad, they withdrew that to Egypt, deducing that keeping it in Baghdad would just be suicide. And the Arab states have decided not to reinforce Iraq because, once again, it would just be suicide. opting to conserve its strength for the next scenario, the War on Terror, where the United States will have to invade Afghanistan and Iraq, so split American forces, and they'll have access to foreign fighters, so Arab states will have a much better chance of winning the War on Terror versus the first Iraq War. And the consequences for the Arab states losing this are hardly anything. The major factory gets downgraded into a minor factory. That's it. They don't lose any territory. So they're opting to kind of intentionally lose this to save their forces for the next war, which has a lot bigger consequences for losing. So that's where it sits. The United States will be moving on Baghdad next turn, and that'll be it. So we will come back after the next turn and the end to the scenario. See you then. Alright, we're at the end of the first Iraq War. And not that it was any great surprise, but the United States took Baghdad. So they have won the first Iraq War. The consequences of it is Iraq's major factory gets downgraded to a minor factory, and that is it. The U.S. forces have to withdraw out of Iraq and go wherever. But that is it for the scenario. So the next one is the War on Terror. So start off with the United States having to invade Afghanistan, and then a couple turns later they'll have to invade Iraq. Have to fight a two-front war. It will be great. So we'll get it set up for that and come back with the War on Terror.